and for the United States to get on what came to be called the right side of history. And I think it's fair, despite whatever one's reservations about President Obama's performance may be, I think it can be argued that his presidency marked a great improvement in the way the war on terrorism was conducted, and made a particular effort to reach out to the Muslim world in a more effective manner than President Bush had tried to do. Obama made quite a powerful speech, as you will remember, in Cairo in June of 2009, and it was hoped that would try to alleviate some of the negatives that had occurred over the past years as the U.S. conducted what Bush called the global war on terrorism. But the negatives are very considerable. The United States alienated many people in the Arab and Muslim world. The United States, against its own security interests, weakened friendly autocracies in the region, and may have contributed to their hollow vulnerability in the face of the subsequent mass protests that have lately arisen. Trillions of dollars were spent on wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, wars which many people would have called wars of choice and not wars of necessity, although some people would say that the war in Afghanistan was more necessary perhaps than the war in Iraq. But it was tremendously costly. And as the United States struggles with its economic and financial problems today, American opinion, and according to the latest polls, is very much disenchanted, I think, with the cost of the war on terrorism. The United States engaged in torture and renditions, did tremendous damage to the credibility and respect that perhaps the United States has enjoyed in the world. There was some certain curtailment of civil rights and citizen rights and freedoms within the United States. The case of the legal proceedings against enemy combatants, as Al-Qaeda suspects were called, has raised, I think, serious legal issues. And my colleague Robert Bianchi, who is also a lawyer, may have something to say about that. We have, I think, by all the latest polls, and I've seen some that have come out just very recently, we have suffered a huge loss of influence and credibility and respect across the Muslim and Arab world. And that cannot be considered at all positive. Even the United States military, which has played a big role, finds itself today exhausted, stretched to the limit, tired, and faced now with budget cuts. And that is a problem certainly for the military people. And then finally, in prosecuting this war on terror, the United States created what has been called a parallel government, a secret government. And I'd like to show you very quickly, to give you an idea of some of the dimensions of this particular development. And if I can find out.